Bet Tzedek provides free legal services to seniors, the unhoused, immigrants, and workers in LA County, regardless of race, age, gender, or status, which we are very proud of because we are one of the few legal nonprofits that could provide services to undocumented workers. And I myself work in the Employment Rights Project, and we help workers with issues of wage theft, retaliation, discrimination. Unemployment is our new thing now. We had to learn a lot about unemployment the past few months, and we provide guidance on workplace safety. And we're really glad to see the county, the city, and the state step up and provide additional workplace safety protections for workers in light of COVID. And we're especially glad that the LA County Board of Supervisors has approved the public health councils and proposed a new anti-retaliation ordinance, which we really hope will help protect more workers. But unfortunately, what we're seeing on the ground is when workers call about workplace protection issues, they ask, one, is this lawful? And two, can I be fired? And we are honest with workers, right? And we tell them that there are laws that protect against unlawful retaliation. But the reality is that workers know that if they report a violation, they can get fired. They can be retaliated against. And right now, that is a risk that a lot of workers are not willing to take, right? With unemployment being so high, it being almost impossible to find a new job. There's homes that have multiple people that are unemployed. So when workers see something that's concerning, the risk is often outweighed by the benefit of reporting something. And that's what we're seeing a lot. There's these great laws out there, great protections, but workers aren't calling to ask us how they can use them. Really, they're calling and to ask, can I be retaliated against? And it's really just not a risk that a lot of workers are willing to take. And that's in part because of there's always long delays, right? When you file a retaliation claim, it could be months, it could be years, which is what we've seen as well. And we see a lot of workers kind of just move on after a couple of months or a couple of years. They move on. They don't want to, it's a traumatic event that's occurred. They don't want to relive it. They're just done. They found a new job. So that's one thing that we have seen, and employers know this, and they're often emboldened by this. So it's concerning. And luckily, some employees that are retaliated against have access to EDD, right? If they're now unemployed, they can apply to EDD. But we know that EDD is not without its flaws, especially more recently. We've heard a lot about EDD, and we understand that they've been flooded these past few months, and they're trying their best, but a lot of workers are being left out in the cold. Back in October, we heard that over 1 million employees who filed for initial claims hadn't seen any money at all. And then more recently, what we're hearing a lot of is this issue with Bank of America freezing accounts, freezing workers' accounts. So that's their livelihood right there. And Bank of America will freeze their accounts due to alleged suspicious activity. And this is often even after EDD has called Bank of America and told them that this is a valid account. So these are workers that depend on their money to pay the rent, to buy food, especially during the holidays. It's like the one thing they can maybe provide for their children, and they're completely cut off. So this is really concerning to us. And a lot of workers don't know what to do when they have issues with EDD. And we really hope that you all can help us get the word out that Bet Tzedek can provide help with EDD issues. Workers call EDD and they've been waiting often for like many days, and they can't talk to somebody. They're given wrong information sometimes. And we really hope that workers know that Bet Tzedek Legal Services provides free help with unemployment issues, and we collaborate with advocates throughout the state to figure out what's going on, because I think EDD is also trying to figure out what's going on, and we're trying to decipher what they're doing. So a lot of our more recent calls have been issues with EDD, and a lot of workers are saying I almost gave up, but I heard about you on like a Facebook Live or through the media, and um, so we really encourage workers to keep fighting and to keep going and to seek help with EDD issues, and that's what we're here to do. Um, and unfortunately, for our most vulnerable populations, they don't have access to EDD, right? Because EDD is people that are undocumented cannot access EDD. This is despite paying millions and millions of dollars into EDD and to other legal services, other safety net programs. They cannot access them, right? So we have already a population that's incredibly vulnerable, that's incredibly targeted, and so when they think about complaining about retaliation, they know that if they're fired, they have no safety net, right? So which is why we see undocumented workers taking more risks, right? Not reporting issues. We've seen an uptick, unfortunately, of more workers working for less than minimum wage, or working for a daily rate that comes in significantly under minimum wage, or not paying overtime. And our fear is that we're returning to a time when, when employers were, when nobody was enforcing these laws, right, and employers knew it. Like, our concern is that that's where we're getting to, because employers know that employees cannot risk complaining at this time, and that's what we've been seeing. And so, despite having what I think are some of the strongest laws in the country that protect workers and that protect undocumented workers, without a safety net there that workers know is there, that protects them and that will help them and that will support them when they raise these issues, they just won't do it. And personally, like, I can't blame them, right? Like, it's a big risk, and the risk just often, like I mentioned, outweigh the reward. So that's why Bet Tzedek and a couple other organizations throughout the state are joining together to push for, so it's a Safety Net for All coalition that we formed that will hopefully encourage a state legislator to address this issue and to provide assistance to undocumented workers and workers without status, to provide them with economic relief when they are unemployed, and especially when they're unemployed, when they're retaliated against. So yeah, that's what we've been seeing a lot. And like I mentioned before, we all kind of try to do our part, and every agency is trying to do our part. And it's helpful to get legal cases out there and to win cases, but it's way more helpful when the media really blasts them and gets the word out, because that's what deters employers, knowing that we are doing work, that there are people and agencies and nonprofits out there that are keeping an eye on them and that have workers' backs. And if they don't follow the law, they may be next, right there. We will find a way to go after them, but without getting the word out, it's a struggle. So thank you all for everything you do and for helping us get the word out and really deter all of these issues.
Tell us how to call in to Bet Tzedek and tell you what's going on.
So for workers, workers can call our clinic. We have a weekly clinic. It's now virtual. It's my favorite thing about my job, actually. So let me share that with you. There we go. Current slide. So we have a weekly clinic. Any worker, in LA County who works or lives in LA County can call in. You can call in at any time, and then we do an intake, and then an attorney or a volunteer will call you on a Wednesday from 4 to 7 and provide legal assistance. This is the way we find most of our cases, and so it's actual free legal advice, not just information. And again, this is regardless of status. So the majority of our clients are undocumented, because we're one of the few organizations that does help undocumented workers.